I will be reading one of the stories that I wrote on 1DSF. My name is Kevin. By the way, Kevin the Pigeon here. Okay, so the one I'm going to be reading is about Harry's hands. Okay. Harry's prying away with his fingers as you're sitting down and watching TV with him. The other 4 boys are out doing something and you're just chilling with your best friend Harry. You subtly glance at his hands and silently groan to yourself. You have a thing for his hands. They're so big and just you can't deal with how much you're attracted to them. His face is good too. His face is definitely a bonus. But those hands, those massive hands, to have them run up your body or even fingering. You find yourself shivering at the thought and Harry stops prying his hands. You look up and notice he's looking at you with a curious look on his face. Shit. Busted. And what on earth are you staring at, babe? He says with a big smirk on his face. Nothing, you lie. He runs a hand through his hair and you bite down on your lip. You try to take your eyes off his hands, but you just can't seem to do it. Is there something wrong with my hands? He frowns, looking at them himself and giving you the best view of them without moving. No, they're perfect, you mutter under your breath without realizing. You freeze and Harry looks at you. He has a devious look on his face and your cheeks redden just the slightest bit. You like my hands, he teases you with a sing-song voice. Shut up! What do you even like about them or want to do with them? He chuckles. Everything, you mumble, not expecting him to catch that. He does hear that and has a cheeky grin on his face. He smirks and says, Oh, really? Well, if that's the case. He gets up and pulls you up, grabbing your wrist. He brings you upstairs to his room and slams the door. He slams you against the wall. His lips attack yours. He kisses you deeply and fiercely. His hands touch your sides, and you feel a shock run through your body. His hands slowly glide up your sides and back down again, making you shiver all over. He pulls his lips away from yours and takes off your shirt. His massive warm hands trail over your exposed stomach, and he makes you want him so badly. He then takes off your pants and slowly glides his hands back up to your bra. His hands then slide to the back and he unhooks it. He lets the fabric fall onto the floor and his huge hands grip your breasts right away. You bite down on your lip and watch him. Your breath catches in your throat. He massages your entire breast in opposite circles and squeezes your nipples as he does so with the sides of his fingers. His hands are so massive that they can cover each breast. Harry then grips onto your breasts with his fingers and then slides them all the way from the outline to grip your nipples with all of his fingertips. Oh my God, Harry, you moan. Your pussy's throbbing. You need his fingers up inside of you. Now. Stop the teasing. I need you to finger me, you whimper, out of breath. He chuckles and slowly flattens down your breasts with the palm of his ginormous hands before pulling them away. His hands travel down to your underwear and he traces the outline of them with his hands, cupping the insides of your thighs, and he finishes the entire outline. The hands then run over to your underwear, making you wet. He brings them back to the top and slowly takes off your underwear, going at such a slow pace that the teasing is practically killing you. Finally, after another minute, he takes them off and grabs your hand, guiding you over to the bed. He lays you down on his bed, your bum at the edge, and he runs his massive hands from the bottom of your legs till he gets to your upper thighs. He slowly glides his hands down to the inside of your thighs and pushes them apart, making you feel his fingers in action. After that, he runs his very long middle fingers right where your outline of your underwear would usually be where your vagina is. Then he stops one index finger from the beginning of your anal hole all the way up to your clit, stopping right there and leaving his finger there. He doesn't start rubbing it. Of course not. Harry wanting to tease you till you practically die. He starts pressing down on it, teasing you. You whimper and curl your toes, needing him to start some action. Harry's laugh means he understands and he starts rubbing your clit with just the tip of his index finger. The rubs get quicker and harder. You moan and Harry then adds his middle finger as well, making it 2 fingers that rub fiercely against your clit. While he continues that, his other massive hand runs over your inner thighs and runs his fingertips lightly over them, as if a feather was running across it. He then stops both and you're aching for more. He slides one of his long little fingers down to your entrance and smirks. He slowly pushes his long, strong finger inside of you. He's going super slow and teasing you at the same time. He continues gliding it more of his finger until he reaches your G-spot. He applies pressure against it until his entire massive finger is inside of you. Harry starts finger fucking you with much speed and force, nothing like when he first glided it in. This boy is so unexpected and you have no idea what he'll do next. He continues jabbing his finger inside of you and slams into your G-spot every time. The feeling is amazing and much better than you ever imagined. As he pulls out as usual, the next time he glides in, he shoves his index finger in as well. You don't even feel pain, just constant pleasure. Harry's free hand grips one side of your waist and you can feel his fingers digging into your skin while the palm roughly moves back and forth, massaging one side of your waist. Fuck, Harry, oh my god, you moan and close your eyes. You keep them closed and just feel both long, soft fingers slamming into your G-spot. You feel the moisture on his fingers since you're so wet. I think we should bring this up a notch. His sultry voice gives you shivers. He slides in another finger and pain hits you straight away. Not only are his hands massive, his fingers are too. He starts out by placing his index finger and third finger side by side, while the middle finger is on top. He plunges all three fingers deep inside of you, making the slamming against your G-spot hard to breathe. You squeeze your eyes tight and clench your hands into fists. You begin to thrust your hips up and down and move to his rhythm, doubling the pleasure. You're so tight, babe, he moans. His middle finger slowly slides between both fingers, stretching you out a bit. You feel a bit of pain, but the moment it leaves, your pleasure is unbelievable. Holy shit, Harry, I'm gonna, you moan, trying to hold it in. You feel him putting everything into it as he finger fucks you with so much intensity. His other hand gripping your waist trails over to your clit, and he starts roughly rubbing it with his two strongest and longest fingers. You need just a bit more to drive you over the edge. You unclench one of your fists and keep your eyes shut. You bring your hand to the hand that he's fucking you with and place your hand over his. You put your entire hand over his metacarpals and grip onto it. Your hand barely fits over that since his hand is massive and also surprisingly warm and soft, but also rugged and rough. You start pushing down on his metacarpals, forcing more of his long, wet fingers inside of you. You moan at the even more intense roughness and shut your eyes. You start rocking your hips feverishly and forcing more and more of his hand. He jabs all three deep fingers inside of you until you can feel the restraint of the beyond point of the fingers. You feel it coming very fast. All three fingers start to curve against your G-spot and you moan and whimper. His fingertips are very strong, so once they curve, it's like yet another jab inside of a jab. It's going deeper than deep, filling all your sexual desires. Your insides get warmed up from all the fingering, and you know your vagina will be aching tomorrow and super sore. Harry's fingers cover every inch of your insides while he jabs and never slows his pace. The jabs and all the slamming against your G-spot is becoming too much. Your stomach gets knots and your insides begin to tickle and clench, thus giving you even more pleasure, and your hand twitches over his. Fuck, Harry, You let out the biggest, longest orgasm you've ever had. You scream his name as you unclench and relax. You feel relieved and so fulfilled. Your hand stays over his and you continue to force his fingers inside of you, wanting to keep them in for just a bit longer. I get it, babe, he chuckles. His other hand leaves your clit and goes over to your hand. He takes your small limp hand in his massive one and squeezes it before laying back down on the bed. The hand grazes your inner thigh and the three fingers quicken their pace. They get jabbed into you with all their speed and as much force as possible. You feel his fingers twitching inside of you, roaming all over the place. He continues a few more times before pulling out. He licks clean his very wet hands and smiles cheekily at you. You can't even reply. You whimper and open your eyes, staring at the blank ceiling while your hands rest on your stomach. Whenever you want me to finger you, just tell me, babe, he says as he runs one of his massive hands over your vagina. Those hands will be the death of you. I apologize for the mistakes. And that is that. If you guys have a request, and I doubt it because I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this, but if you guys have a request, just tell me and I will read it. But I have to make sure my parents aren't home or my sister because, yeah, I'm not going to read that out loud in front of them, you know. Anyways, Kevin the Pigeon, out.